Welcome back to Mariners Daily. I'm Sam Edwards. This is episode 30 of the podcast for the Thinking Mariners fan, where we go just a little bit deeper, stats wise, in depth, player breakdowns, whatever it is. Today, we've got a fantastic episode covering, first off, the letter from John Stanton. We've got a player profile on a key free agent this episode. We've got some quotes from Jerry Dipoto. I'll give you my bullcrap meter on that. And then finally, covering Eugenio Suarez, Gino Suarez, seeing what he could get on the open market. What did he do this past year? And is he worth it? Possibly. Is he worth more than I thought he was? Let's cover everything this episode. Once again, Sam Edwards, Mariners Daily. If you enjoy the podcast, if you enjoy the show, subscribe, follow, leave me a comment, tell me what you think about the Mariners offseason. Pardon me and my terrible voice. Let me know everything. Give me all your gripes. I don't know. First up, letter from John Stanton. I think most of it is bull crap. I found one section near the end to be interesting. First off, John Stanton, he is the chairman and managing partner of the Mariners. And there's an interesting quote. Here it is. This is the beginning. This is him talking. This is John talking. This is the beginning of a special era of Mariners baseball. There was work to do to take that final step. That work starts now. Let's see if you're being honest here, John. I'm curious. Are you actually, do you actually mean this? I tend to see these letters as just a PR move. Is it just good PR? Maybe. I don't think knowledgeable fans of any sports team take quotes from an owner at face value. I think there's a couple owners where they have proven themselves, just like anything in life. If you prove yourself, then yes, trust builds exponentially. Look at Steve Cohen on the Mets. I believe when he says he is going to go out and spend and actually try and improve his team. He has proven it time and again ever since he took over as the owner. John Stanton has not proven much to me. They have increased their budget. They traded for Suarez. They traded for Naylor. They increased their budget halfway through the season by $9.5 million, roughly. So they have done it, and they have spent a little bit in free agency. Robbie Ray's contract was a pretty decent size that I didn't expect them to go for. But they didn't shy away from a guy like Suarez, where they had to spend a lot in prospects and spend a little bit in money as well, but that was only for half a season. Same with Naylor. So jury's still out on the long term, yeah, especially in free agency and keeping their guys. They've kept their guys, Julio, Hal Raleigh, whatever you want to point to. They have held on to their guys through extensions, but these extensions definitely are cheaper than what they would get on the free market. So jury's still out. I'll get to Jerry Dipoto in a second, but I did find that quote interesting, saying it was a special era of Mariners baseball and that there's still work to do to take that final step, and that work starts now. Well, John, you better keep that pocketbook open because we're going to need it this offseason. And I'm going to cover our payroll in a second. But before we do, we got to get into this player profile, this player breakdown. Free agent Ryan O'Hearn. I think O'Hearn's an interesting player. Now, listen, like I just said, we want to keep Josh Naylor. I get it. Things don't always go the way we want them to go, though. So, Josh Naylor could be out the door. Even if he's not, I think Ryan O'Hearn's an interesting player. First off, this season, he definitely was better than I thought. Either way, 32 years old, 544 plate appearances this season between the Orioles and the Padres, who he got traded to halfway through the year at the trade deadline. 544 plate appearances, 17 home runs total. He had a 10.7 walk percentage, very nice. A 20 K percentage even, which is not terribly high, but it is higher than Naylor's, so understandably so. A little nervous, get it. It was a 150 .156 isolated power, a 330 BABIP for O'Hearn. He hit 281 with a 366 on base and a 437 slugging percentage. The WOBA and ex-WOBA sitting right around 349 and 350 respectively. A 127 runs created plus, and even 3 WAR on the season. Very interesting player. The past 2 seasons, he has been consistent. It's been a right around a 118 runs created plus consistently. So O'Hearn, I think, is definitely a serious possibility for our open DH spot or first base. He's a lefty batter. He could be interesting. He definitely had a better season than I thought, and he's definitely been consistently a better hitter than I thought he was for the past 2 seasons. Roughly full seasons both those years, 118 runs created plus both years, like I said, but it was a 127 this year. Why? He started off the season extremely hot, April and May. April, he had a 158 runs created plus, and then May, he had a 181 runs created plus. Scalding hot, amazing. Similar to how Naylor ended his season, which is exactly when you want a guy to get hot. So April and May are definitely probably the easiest months in the season to be hot until the pitchers kind of adjust to you, and they did with O'Hearn. They adjusted in June to the tune of a 609 OPS for O'Hearn and a 75 runs created plus. He did come back up to an above average bat, a 110 runs created plus, a 115, 117. He did come back to an above average hitter, just not the scalding efforts that we saw in April and May, which nobody expects that to keep up. So I get it. 20K percentage is it's not high, but definitely for a Mariners team that wants to keep that as low as possible. And Naylor was kind of the dream acquisition in that respect. They definitely want to keep that lower, and Naylor was perfect. So, and he's also amazing at T-Mobile Park as well. So it's listen, as Depoto has said, I get it. We still want Naylor, but I do want to cover some first base options, some DH options that I think could be could be solid additions. O'Hearn's only 32 years old. It's a decent season. It's not an amazing season. Let's say, one WAR, one win above replacement in free agency costs around $8 million or so. If he does get paid for the 3 WAR that he got this season, so then we're looking at around $24 million a year, but on a shorter deal, a much shorter deal than what Naylor's looking to get for sure. So in that respect, it could be optimal for the Mariners to go after that. I would hope that he would get less than $24 million a year. Maybe it's a 2-year, $20 million deal. I think I could see that happening. O'Hearn's, like I said, he has been better. I wouldn't say consistent, but he has been better the past 2 seasons. Definitely a better hitter than I thought. He's also above average at first base for the most part, according to outs above average on Baseball Savant. So it could be an interesting option. Could be very interesting. I would be okay if the Mariners went after him. Obviously, there would need to be improvements elsewhere on the roster, maybe in the outfield, maybe in right field, like I've covered. There would need to be serious bat upgrade. I don't know if O'Hearn is necessarily that. He would be cheaper though than Naylor, so if we allocated that money somewhere else, then that would be great. O'Hearn might be a little too expensive though for that role, so maybe they would look for a 1-year deal on somebody else. But we'll cover that another day. Let's get to the Mariners payroll here. We've got a couple comments from Jerry Dipoto. Dipoto did have an emotional press conference, which was kind of refreshing to see that he's human, and he's just so analytically minded and so looking at this roster, so like not from a fan perspective necessarily, which I think you need out of a general manager slash president of baseball operations. So it's always interesting with Dipoto. He's done a fairly good job. We saw a lot of moves go his way that he made. Like I said, Naylor was an amazing addition. Blanco re-signing him last offseason was fantastic, and I'm curious to see if they do it again. Either way, we'll get there. When he was asked about the Mariners' payroll, this was last week, Dipoto said, and if it would be like how much would it be for next season? Dipoto said, I would say similar to where we ended the year as a starting point, where we ended this season, which was $165 million, with the potential to boost spending during the season for trade deadline acquisitions. Roster Resource, as of right now, projects the team going into next season as having a $132 million, so which would give them about $34 million to play with, roughly, in payroll capacity, which would be for Dipoto and the GM Justin Hollander. So we got roughly $34 million to play with. If we do go for Naylor, like I've covered, I could easily see him getting around $20 to $25 million in a season. He's only 29 years old. We're going to be talking about it all off season, I swear. But we need to bring him back. We gotta bring him back. And I'm not saying there's no success this next season if we don't bring Josh Naylor back. Obviously, there's no player that is so indispensable like that. Obviously, Kawhi would be as close to that as possible. Naylor was extremely key in getting us this far, especially in the playoffs. But like I said with O'Hearn, there's other first base options. There are. There are. Not the end of the world if we don't get Naylor back, but also we really should bring Naylor back. So important to this team. His passion on the field, his play at T-Mobile Park, all the above. So a lot of that 34 mil could go to Josh Naylor, and then we could figure it out from there. We're tight. 34 mil is not a lot of money to spend, especially in Major League Baseball this season. So I would be extremely encouraged if we did go over that $165 million budget that Dipoto has set. They have always talked about, Dipoto has always stood pat saying that ownership will increase our payroll if we start consistently getting into contention. I'll believe it when I see it. Owners say whatever they want for good payroll. Sorry, for good PR payroll. And no, they don't. They want to spend as little money as possible. So yeah, man. Like honestly, I'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't. Maybe they will get up to a 165. I could see that, but also that's just not a lot of money for this team. They do have some young guys that I've covered coming up, some top prospects that we could see this coming season, some guys that we saw this year that we might hope to take a step up this coming season. Possible, very possible. Either way, we'll see. If we don't spend a lot of that money towards Josh Naylor, could it possibly go towards Gino Suarez, Eugenio Suarez? I am not a huge fan of this idea, but then at the same time, I think we need to look at the past and learn something from it. Okay. 657 plate appearances for Suarez this past season, combined with the Diamondbacks and the Mariners. 49 home runs. He had a 7 walk percentage, a 29.8 K percentage. He hit 228 on the season, a 298 on base, and a 526 slugging percentage. Good for a 125 runs created plus. Overall, a good offensive season. I know he strikes out a lot. He has consistently struck out a lot, but also been above average. A 3.8 F-WAR season for Suarez. I will say he did perform much worse when he went to Seattle, leaving Arizona. I think that's just probably just him just cooling off naturally over the season. But either way, with Arizona, he had a 141 runs created plus, and with Seattle, he had a 91 runs created plus this season. This season, I'm talking about specifically. And then the K percentage went from 26.8 with Arizona to a 35.9 with Seattle. It's not great. However, I want to remind you, we traded for Suarez, and then he was solid for one season. Then the next year, he had a 105 runs created plus. It was a big drop. So then we get rid of him. Diamondbacks get him. And he's back. He rebounds a 118 runs career plus, and then this past season, totally rebounds. And then Seattle wants him again. But he's good defensively as well. Like he is definitely, I think, an underrated player just because of the strikeouts. I think people just see power, strikeouts, and they go, I don't want any part of this. And I get it, I get it, I get it with the strikeouts. It makes him inconsistent. But season to season, he is consistent. He is consistently right around a 3 WAR, consistently bringing value. Is it the style of value that the Mariners want slash need? No. They're trying to lower that K percentage consistently. They're trying to make more contact. Suarez does not do that. He's the opposite of that. He gives you power every once in a while. 49 home runs, though, is nothing to scoff at, for sure. And we've seen him perform well with Seattle. So I have no idea how much he's going to get. He signed a big extension with the Reds way back in 2018 for 7 to 8 years. And now he's finally becoming a free agent at the age of 30. Oh my gosh, how old is Suarez? I'm sorry, guys. I have to know this. I can't believe I don't. And I can't believe I didn't have it written down somewhere or remembered it somewhere. He's 34. Okay. Okay. 34 years old. He's no spring chicken, and I don't think he's going to get a lot of years, but he's been consistent year to year. So, like, am I going to be mad if they get Suarez, if they bring Suarez back? If they let Polanco and Naylor go, then yeah, I'll be frustrated. The other options are gonna have to be very good. We're gonna have to get a couple better. We're gonna have to get a couple bats along with Suarez for me to be satisfied. Because yes, the Mariners offense as a whole did perform very well this season, but the additions of Suarez and Naylor were gigantic. And Polanco having as good of a year as he did propelled us quite a bit as well, just deep in that lineup. And I talked about this in the early episodes of Mariners Daily. So if you haven't seen those episodes, you can always check them out and see what the vibe was if you want to relive the highs of this late September run that we had, this September run overall. But Suarez would be interesting. I wouldn't scoff at bringing him back, but I wouldn't want to spend a whole lot of money unless we're really increasing this payroll. And Stanton is legit about saying that there is work to be done and it starts now. So bring Naylor back has always been rule number one. Polanco is definitely always number two for me. Suarez is number three, but he has been consistently a good player, more than above average. So I'm curious. What do you think? Mariners fans hate Suarez in a lot of ways, and I get it. But also at the same time, the stats don't lie. They really don't. And I know he didn't perform super well, like I said, going from Arizona to Seattle this season. But I think that's just judging a guy with a high K percentage in, that 2 month period that we had him. So he had some impact. He had a couple homers in the postseason. He did. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're gonna bring him back, but I thought it was interesting to kind of give Suarez his flowers, and we'll see. See what happens. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. I'll see you back tomorrow. Have a good one.